Welcome to this evening's United by Song event. Before we proceed, I'd like to first acknowledge that the land on which we gather is a traditional unceded territory of the Indigenous Mi'kmaq. At this time, I would like to ask Mi'kmaq Elder Julie Pellisier-Lush, as well as Sean, to offer a prayer and a song.
When I wake up in the morning, I give thanks for the day, for all the wonderful things I will hear, learn, and say. Today is a blessing, this much I know. I thank you, Creator, for each day that I grow. As a child of the deep red earth, I thank the Creator for my birth. When I look at each wonderful day, I smile to myself and pray. I pray for the youth with hard decisions to make. Please be there to choose what road they must take. I pray for the children who don't have a voice yet, those little ones who need far more than they get. Please give them loving, caring arms and keep them safe and away from harm. I pray for the sick that they get well real soon. I pray for those babies that are still in the womb. I pray for this island that sits so proud in the ocean. I pray for the water that the moon sets in motion. My love of my community and my family, I say. Please hear these simple words right now that I pray. May everyone find joy and love in their heart today, in whatever they hear, in whatever they do, or whatever they say.
Thank you, Julie, and to Sean. That was beautiful. Thanks to you all for being here tonight. My name is Drea MacDonald, and I'm the CEO of the United Way of PEI. We've been planning this event for a long time, and it's kind of hard to believe it's actually happening, so we're very excited. I'd first off the bat like to acknowledge the sponsors who've helped us make tonight a possibility. Holland College has been a gold sponsor for the event, and we're in their beautiful facility tonight, and I'm sure we're all enjoying it. MRSB and Upstreet Craft Brewing are also sponsors. And I'd also like to acknowledge our partner, Music PEI. We would never have been able to pull off an evening like this without their partnership, and it's been great to work with them. I'd like to introduce our host for the evening. I'm guessing many of you already know her. Catherine McClellan is one of PEI's premier and most awarded songwriters. A Juno Award winner, multiple ECMA and Canadian Folk Music Award winner, she's won more Music PEI awards than any other artist. Catherine has toured across Canada and internationally for years. She's just finished her second summer presenting the songs of her father, Gene McClellan, to sold-out houses at the PEI Brewing Company. In addition, Catherine and her friend, island filmmaker Milla Clarks, created a documentary about Gene called The Song and the Sorrow, which just won the Best Short Doc at the Atlantic International Film Festival. I'd like to read a short excerpt from a review by Alex Cook at the East magazine about that film. Milla Clarks and Catherine McClellan have accomplished with The Song and the Sorrow is remarkable and beautiful. It is the story, and not just of the legacy of a man, but the challenges faced by his daughter and his community in the wake of his passing. It breaks the mold of biopics by sharing their story as a bittersweet eulogy from people actively dealing with his absence, with the really very real tangible connections and the echo it presents in Catherine and her ongoing experiences as a musician. For a film centered around depression, there's a lot of beauty in the sadness. Catherine was a participant in a similar show last year with the United Way in central New Brunswick, and we're honored to have her as our host tonight. Please welcome Catherine McClellan.
Hello, how are you? Yeah, you look very nice. Thanks, Andrea, for that beautiful introduction. We're really happy that you're all here to join us tonight for this inaugural United by Song event. The United Way of PEI and Music PEI have partnered to deliver this special evening of songs and stories. Tonight, we're creating a stage where our local community and culture are coming together to shine a light on authentic and inspiring stories. We're also here to thank all the supporters of the United Way and to connect you to the very personal and profound impact of that support. PEI is known as a place where we all look after one another, but the reality is often more complicated. The United Way of PEI works closely with local partners and invests in local programs so islanders can connect to services in their own communities when and where they need them, and to ensure that no one is left behind. Tonight, you're going to hear from 4 individuals who have benefited from these partnerships and this support. They're very personal stories, and we sincerely thank them for sharing. Each of these brave and inspiring islanders were paired with one of the talented local songwriters joining us this evening. And so over the past month, they've met, shared stories, and learned from one another. So tonight, you're going to witness the result of this partnership, of this connection, and the songs that they've inspired. It's a really beautiful thing. So first up, we have Johnny, Declan, and Nicholas. As a family, they have all been involved in the Boys and Girls Club of Summerside's Family Foundations program, funded by the United Way. And this program works to improve the life skills of individual family members and relationships within the family. So Johnny, Declan, and Nicholas were paired with Andrew Waite. And Andrew is originally from Summerside, is a passionate songwriter, performer, and educator whose award-winning debut release, Burning Through the Night, garnered critical acclaim. His new album, Tremors, is set for release next month. And as a multi-instrumentalist, Andrew's songwriting is honest, rugged, and evocative. And whether he's performing solo or with his full 6-piece band, he delivers a relentless and dynamic performance. So please welcome Johnny and Declan.
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? I'm Johnny. This is my son, Declan. And Nicholas is running around here somewhere. He has no interest at all being on stage, and that's okay. I work for the Boys and Girls Club of Summerside. I want to say that right off the top because the United Way has been a huge part of the success of the Boys and Girls Club of Summerside, and the success in my life and my son's life. But I want to talk to you about my personal story, our personal story. It's it's not easy to talk about, but I think it's important because if we can help somebody else, then I'll shed tears and open my heart to anybody that can benefit from it. So I'm an alcoholic, recovering alcoholic. And I grew up in a household that was violent and abusive. My job as the oldest of 4 kids was to take my kids down to the basement of our house and turn the music up as loud as I could and distract them so they wouldn't hear what's going on upstairs. And then the second part of my job was to go upstairs and literally clean up the damage, the blood, the broken glass. And then whatever adult was left up there, I would bear the brunt of their anger and frustration. And that's how I grew up. That's not a pity party, that's the truth. So as a young man, I pushed all those memories back and back into my mind. But as anybody out there that struggles knows, you can forget about those memories, but they will come back to haunt you. And they did. As an adult, I led a self-destructive, abusive lifestyle, abusive to myself. It wasn't pretty. It was hardcore, and it was just self-destructive. I had no love for myself because I didn't think anybody loved me. And then I had kids, and I thought I had it all fixed, all laid out. And boy, was I wrong. Not true at all. I spent 20 years traveling the world, living what I thought was a cool rock and roll lifestyle, fly by the seat of my pants, don't make any plans. Came back to PEI in 2009 and promptly lost everything that was dear to me. You know, if you hit rock bottom when Child and Family and the police show up at your door and they take your children away from you. And that's exactly what happened. When I was this young man's age, I came home from school one day and there was a moving truck in our driveway. And I asked my mom, where are we moving to? And she said, we're not going anywhere. You're staying here. I don't care what you do, but we're leaving. And I was literally left on the doorstep and watched my brothers and sisters through the back window of the car as they drove away. Then you fast forward a couple decades later, I was watching my kids drive away in the back seat of a car from someone from Child and Family. I had learned nothing. I lost every single thing in my life that was important to me. And you think that might wake you up, but it didn't. I thought I hit bottom, but I didn't. I kept on falling. But through the strength of the people in my community and the strength of my kids, especially this guy right here, who put his hand on my shoulder and said, Dad, go get help. You can do this. We love you. So the two things in my world that made me strong enough to stand here today and have my kids back in my house and be a family again was the love of my children and music. And that's no joke. United by Song is a big deal to me because in those nights when I would get 2 hours a week, twice a week, to visit my kids, when they left, the only thing that stopped me from drinking was music and pictures of my kids. And it was the hardest thing I ever had to do. But I did it because of the love these kids, Declan and Nicholas, had for me. And I'm telling you right now, without their love and their strength, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I'd be dead. I would have drank myself into a coma and died. And that's the God's honest truth. Through the Boys and Girls Club, who was right up the street from my house, from visits from the staff just to check on me before I started working there. And the programs they provided for me and my family that I enrolled in, it helped me turn the corner. I got out of Mount Herbert from the rehab program, and I realized I need to make a change in my life. And I went to court every month for almost 2 years to get my kids back. And the last thing the judge said to me was, Mr. Rockwell, there's no doubt that you love your kids unconditionally, and I wish you all the best. And when they brought the kids back home, that was the proudest, happiest day of my life. And I just want to say that because of all the things I went through, if anybody can do this, if I can do this, anybody can. To go through hell and back and be able to stand or sit here and talk about it, trust me, anybody can do it. And I wish anybody out there that's struggling, I want them to know that they're not alone. They're not. There's someone in your life that cares about you, and they want to see you get better. And I was lucky enough, by the grace of God, to have two kids, my son Declan and my son Nicholas, who cares so much about me that they wanted me to be the best dad that I could be. And it took me a long time to figure that out. But I'm so proud to be sitting here today to tell you that I love these kids so much. United by Song, thank you very much for letting me speak. And I'm going to hand the mic over to my son Declan, because he wants to say a few words too. Thank you, and God bless all you folks for showing up. Thanks a lot.
My dad is a recovering alcoholic. Doesn't mean that his alcoholism is gone. Sometimes, still there. But when you go through foster care and them not caring about you and you having to take care of your brother and you're 12 years old, the thing that I focused on is the good things and not the bad things. I focus on going back home. Even though it was 2 hours, I cried and cried. I'm like, Dad, I want to stay here, but I need you to get help. I would stand in my room, and this is how I started music. I would stand in my room and just start belting random lyrics that would come to my head about my life. And sometimes it's bad, but sometimes it's amazing. And I'm thankful to have people in my corner, my brother, my father. I'm proud to call myself a Rockwell, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And like he said, and like I said, we have been through hell and back, and everywhere in between. And we are standing here today to tell you that you are not alone. There is people that want your help, and there is people that are trying to help you. So, all I really have to say is thank you. Thank you very much for coming out here and supporting this.
Thank you. We're going to get up here and join Nikki and Andrew on stage to do a song for you. Thank you.
I don't really know what to say after that. These guys are amazing. It's been really incredible getting to know them over the last few weeks. Their story's inspiring. Johnny's inspiring. Declan's inspiring. Nicholas. Me being who I am, if those of you who don't know me, I'm Andrew Waite. It's my wife Nikki on saxophone. We run a rock camp. Actually, we have a concert here almost every week, all summer. And when I met with them and realized that he's not only an incredibly young fella, but a talented musician, well, we couldn't help but work on this project together. So, yeah, here's the tune. Did you name it yet?
No, just the story of life, I guess.
We'll get back to you on that, but...
Sorry, I had one job.
Let's go. He's ready. All right, well, without further ado, here's the story of a life. I was only Johnny Rockwell with a drink of my own. I got eyes and I'm down, and then some. There's a laugh, you say it's true, but you never spend a night wondering where you're headed to. I hate to say it, but you're freaking my heart
to say it straight. I got weight in my legend, and I'm gonna fade to the man I'm trying to make. You gotta look me in the eye, don't give me a break. Oh, when you figure it out, put your caps like football, let it all down. Hey, I never thought you made, so you never chat, baby, you the same. See, it's the ties that bind us when we're under the gun. It ain't so far away, but the reach is gone. And it's the death that guides us when we're stumbling on. And our love's a light of day, but there's always been strong. See, it's the ties that bind us, 'cause we're holding on. It ain't so far away, but the reach is gone. It's the death that guides us when we're stumbling on. And our love's a light of day, but there's always been strong. Yeah, love's a light of day, but there's always been strong. Yeah, love's a light of day, but there's always been strong.
Oh my God.
Well, that's it. We're going to go home now. That was so amazing. Just the power of music in that moment was overwhelming. So, next, I'd like to introduce you to Katie. Katie has been participating in the Native Council of PEI's Family, Health, and Wellness program, funded by the United Way. And creating strong and healthy families is the ultimate outcome of this comprehensive health and wellness program based on the Indigenous medicine wheel. Katie has been paired with Kelley Mooney, and Kelley, as many of you know, is a PEI award-winning singer-songwriter with over 14 million views collectively on YouTube and GodTube, as well as placement on 3 Billboard charts. Kelley's music has been heard everywhere from a remote mountaintop in Peru to Australia, throughout North America to the UK and even Africa. Gifted with a beautiful voice, Kelley is a great interpreter of others' music and a passionate songwriter herself with 3 albums to her credit. Please welcome Katie and Kelley.
Kwe, Uchalasi, Delawisi, Katie. Hello, welcome, and my name is Katie. Thank you to everyone for being present for me to share this story. And what comes along with it is not all a happy story. But for me to share this story with everyone and to drop the shame and the secrecy that comes with the life of alcoholism, I've been able to heal. The more I speak about it, the easier it gets. And the more I connect with people who share similar stories with me, the connections and the community that I find really, really contribute to all the good things that have turned my life around. Programs like that I've attended at the Native Council and even with United Way, like this day, and the people that I've met today have become a big influence to my story. I hope that people that can relate to my story and are feeling their own personal injustices find a way to have their own healing. It's hard for me to really put this into words, and I've been thinking about it for a long time, and I learned to really think about your words and to speak from your heart. So I have this as a guideline, and I've gone through a big stack of paper, and I was never happy with my words, so I hope to speak from my heart tonight. When I first walked into the Native Council, I was freshly sober, and I was stubborn enough that I did it on my own. I never went to an AA meeting. I hid it all from everybody, and I felt great shame about it. But when I went into the Native Council and I felt the community and the connection, and I knew that I was among family and I was in a safe place, my walls began to break down, and I found a sense of identity. I was born to young parents, and I was adopted when I was a baby. So I never grew up in a house where Native culture was practiced, and I never knew anything about that side of myself. I grew up knowing who my parents were and that I was adopted, and I had younger siblings. And that was a huge gift for me. And especially now that I'm a mother myself, I know how important that connection to family is. I wasn't really sure where I fit into the world until recently. And I felt a huge disconnect from myself and from everybody. And I used that as a way, I used alcohol as a way to not feel those feelings. It clouded my mind and separated me from my spirit, and I didn't have to feel the pain that I carried with me, and I wasn't even sure what the pain was. I was comfortable in social situations that I was not before. I was able to laugh and have fun, but if I got a little crazy, I had an excuse. I could justify all the bad things that I did or decisions that I made through the alcohol. I pushed it too far, and it grew into a problem before I even realized that it was. Alcohol was always a familiar face to me, and it always was a companion to push away those bad feelings. When I became a mother, I thought that my life had turned around and that I didn't have to have alcohol anymore. I could focus on being a mother and I could be happy. I still was not drinking, but I pushed all those feelings aside that I always had, and I never healed from that. So when I went through a separation, when my children were with their father, I would deal with the loneliness by drinking. I was on a path of self-destruction and denial, and I could not see all of the good things that was in front of me. When I first went into the Native Council, the first program that I was invited to was drum group. And music has always been something that very much speaks to me. And learning in the drum group that the beat of the drum symbolizes the beat of your mother's heart from the womb, it really symbolized a rebirth for me. When I began to focus on my culture and to learn more, I felt the pull, and more programs were offered to me. 2 of these being Community Kitchen and the Wellness Program. Community Kitchen was where we gathered once a week, and youth and elders shared time together. There was a hot meal in a safe place. Everybody laughed, and the laughter was medicine. I learned through the Wellness Program the teachings of the medicine wheel. And that was something that brought balance to my life. The medicine wheel is represented in a complete circle with 4 equal sections: the physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional aspects. And every action and event that happens in our lives can contribute to either a balanced or unbalanced life. I realized through this that I was living a very unbalanced life. To honor the Creator and Mother Nature allowed me to become a spiritual person, and for the balance of my life to be restored. When I brought spirituality into my life and found a connection with the Creator and Mother Earth, I was able to branch out where my life was lacking and repair all of the cracks that had taken over with drinking. It's hard for me to stand up here and speak in front of everybody, and I have to take these pauses to collect myself. I'm shaking like a ball of nerves, but to share this, it's a very powerful thing, and if I reach somebody within this audience tonight, I really, really hope that I do, and it will all be worth it for my 5 minutes of fear and bumbling in front of everybody. To meet Kelley and to write this song really is a defining moment in my life. And this night, I didn't think that it was possible for me to get up and speak in front of everybody like this and not be a complete wreck. And I'm really, really thankful. And my story is just beginning, and it's going to continue for the rest of my life. But now that I have the know-how and the strength, I know that there's warrior blood in my spirit. I have connection with my family and my community, and I have a sense of identity and love in my heart, and I will not return to alcohol. Thank you. Well,
When Katie and I first met in the bandstand at Victoria Park, I didn't know what to expect. And we decided to pretty much cut the crap right away and dug right into the dirt. And one of the first things I said to her was, I just got a tattoo, because she's got some pretty cool ones. And I said, I just got this tattoo. I'm awful proud of it. There it is there. I didn't cry. I'm going to be 51 and I didn't cry. It's the AA symbol on there, because I've got 15 years in. And when I told Katie that, and she said, oh my God, I'm going to be the one to ball. She said that she had 7 months in, and it just, I feel like I've met a cousin, a family member here. She's like my new inspiration. She's one of the strongest people I've ever met, and she's just a kid. This has been an eye-opener for me, and I feel incredibly honored and blessed to have met her and worked with her, and to come up with something that is just as much fed me as I hope as it's fed her. So this is Walking the Red Road for Katie.
Let me do that. I'm a lost soul, twisted in the wind like a broken feather. I'm a lost soul, drowning out the noise with a liquid bullet. I'm a lost soul. As long as I don't feel a thing that makes me feel like I'm a lost soul. Something's gotta change. Pressure's building, help my children stop the cycle. I just gotta change. I'm ready, finally willing to accept the help I'm given, wanna change. Feel the spirit rising from inside me now. I know that I can change. Now I can dance into the light. With a united front, I'll fight. I beat the devil down, point him in the ground. Let this eagle take her flight. Let this eagle take her flight. chance to let my roots take hold and ground me lead the way. Now it ain't easy changing everything around myself, this ain't no game. I'm a blade against a piece of leather, sharpen my sights on a brand new day. I see it now, my vision's clear, but I still have doubt, I still have fear. In the colors of the wind I'll soar, I'm not that lost soul anymore. Now I can dance into the light, with a united front I'll fight. We'll beat the devil down, put him in the ground, let the seagull take her flight. And now I'm walking the red road, I feel the drums beat in my soul. I beat the devil down, put him in the ground, now I'm walking the red road. Now I'm walking the red road, come on. Feel the drums beat in my soul. I put the devil down, put him in the ground, now I'm walking the red road. Let the devil down, put him in the ground. Now I'm walking the red road. Yeah, I'm walking the red road. Yeah, I'm walking the red road.
That was incredible. Thank you so much to Katie and Kelley. We are going to take a little break right now, and just so you know, the facility here, Holland College, was nice enough to give this space to us for free for tonight, and so the only money that they're making is at the bar, so buy some water, pop, or possibly not alcohol, I'm feeling. But whatever you want. We really appreciate them donating the space for this purpose. It's such a beautiful event, and we're only halfway through, so we'll see you after the break. We're very excited to continue with our next storyteller and artist. We have Paxton, who is a participant with the Joy Writers Therapeutic Riding Association. The United Way has been pleased to provide funding that has helped the program to improve the physical, emotional, and social well-being of children and youth with disabilities throughout various forms of therapeutic horseback riding. Following Paxton, we will be hearing the song that Drea MacDonald wrote about Paxton's story. Now, Drea has been an important part of PEI's indie music scene for years, and has not only performed solo and with her band hundreds of times, but has also been a big help for other artists along the way. After a decade of musical work, including 4 studio albums of beautiful original material, performing on stages across the country, both as a singer-songwriter and as a backup musician, and appearing on many recordings, Drea boasts multiple Music PEI nominations and 2 wins. Please welcome Paxton and Drea.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Paxton Cole. I'm 16 years old and a grade 11 student of Kensington Intermediate Senior High. I want to start by telling you a little bit about myself. I live with my parents in a small community just outside Kensington, and I have 2 sisters. I'm a twin, and we were born 27 weeks gestation, weighing only 2 pounds each. Because of my prematurity and a few complications, I have a physical disability known as cerebral palsy, which affects my muscle tone, making some tasks like walking a bit more challenging. Other than my crutches, I'm just like every other teenager, and I like to do what all teenagers like to do. I love to listen to music and hang out with friends. I usually just have to be a bit more creative than most teenagers when trying to get things done. Because of my disability, most sports are not possible. And so my parents went looking for something that was safe for me to do and allowed me to have a sport of my own. I became a joyrider when I was 9 years old. Joyriders is a therapeutic riding association whose mission, and I quote, is the enhancement of physical, emotional, and social well-being of children and adults with disabilities. There are various forms of therapeutic riding. They are an amazing group of volunteers, and many of them have been volunteering for many years. Horseback riding with joyriders is not only a sport for me, it has contributed to my physical health by helping to develop my core muscles and allowing me to go from using a walker to crutches when walking. Physical health is very important when you have a disability, but mental and social health is also very important. I try to have a positive attitude and wear a smile, and joyriders has also helped me with this. Riding has helped me to develop my self-confidence and my self-esteem. When I am on a horse, I am a rider. I am a rider like any other rider. I sit in the saddle and I cue the horse like any other person would do, disability or no disability. The horse does not see that I have a physical challenge. He does not see that I walk with crutches. He just listens and does what I ask him to do. As in any sport, there is also a sense of accomplishment for a job well done. And there is nothing better than to hear Kathy's praise after a good lesson. There can even be a bit of competition between the riders, and who does not like to win a race? I would like to thank the United Way for funding joyriders and helping to make it possible for all of us to have such a great place to ride. I would also like to thank Drea for taking the time to get to know me and for writing such an awesome song. It has definitely been a once-in-a-lifetime experience that I will always remember. Enjoy.
What a cool thing this was. I heard a few other people talking, and I was like, they're saying exactly the same things I was going to say. We don't really know what we're getting into in this sort of thing. And it was a real pleasure chatting with Paxton. More so because I think she's figured something out in 16 years that has taken me 39 years to just barely start figuring out. And that's really how to treat people, you know. Her biggest thing was that she's no different from anyone else. And that's very true. Nobody is. We're all the same. And it's important to look for the good in everything and everyone. So we came up with this little song, and it's called Life Like Yours.
Take that step, it takes a while, and it can take everything that you got, but it can change the tides. Don't worry about the future, it's about here and now. And I got all my friends and family around. Like a shining sun. Know all the ones that have Look at me, I'm riding high, gonna clear my head. There's a freedom in the fresh air, in the woods, in the riverbed. Don't worry about an obstacle or a hurdle you gotta jump. You will find the strength to overcome. No matter what, I look for the good in everyone. See it in their face like a shining sun. Know all the ones that do the same for me. No matter what, I move through the days with a laugh and a smile. Plan for the future one step at a time. See what it is, it's a life like yours sometimes. When you find some things just bring you down, look outside for the love that's all around. It's all around. It's all around. No matter what, I look for the good in everyone. And I see it in their face like a shining sun. And I know all the ones that'll do the same for me. No matter what, I live through the days with a laugh and a smile and a plan for the future, one step at a time. And I know what it is. It's a life like yours sometimes. Oh, it's a life like yours. It's a life like yours. It's a life like yours sometimes.
MacDonald in Paxton. That was wonderful. I would like to now call on Rob Lance, who I think is in the audience. He's the president of the board of directors for United Way of PEI, and he's going to say a few words for us.
Good evening, everybody. I'm really, people have said some really nice things already here tonight about this, and I'm almost at a loss for words. You never know how these things are going to work out, and I'm very pleased, and on behalf of the United Way and the entire board of directors, many of who are here tonight, even former directors, former president, Carol, that's you. Thanks once again to all of you, and thank you to our sponsors who made this evening possible, particularly Holland College here for this beautiful facility, MRSB, and Upstreet Craft Brewing. I also want to acknowledge some of the workplace supporters who each purchased 10 tickets to share with staff and campaign volunteers for this event. Bradley Handerhan Chartered Accountants, Deltaware, Exit Realty, that's you again, Carol, and Target Tours. And also Bernadette's Flowers for the greenery on the stage, and Kent for some of the fixtures on the set. So thank you very much, everybody, for making this possible. And finally, thank you to all our partners who we work with across Prince Edward Island. We're proud to be a part of a strong community of people with so much compassion and commitment to make a positive change in Prince Edward Island. In particular, I'd like to thank the organizations that partnered with us and supported us for this event, the Boys and Girls Club, Joyriders Therapeutic Riding, the Native Council PEI, and the PEI Literacy Alliance. Typically around this year, at this time of year, we hold a kickoff for our annual campaign with a luncheon. And this year we decided to try to mix it up a little bit, and we felt this event was a wonderful way to focus on the lives changed that we've heard about here tonight, rather than just dollars raised. So I'm honored to take this opportunity to officially kick off our 2018 campaign, and I can't imagine a better way to do it. With this year's campaign, we have a new slogan. We're looking to unleash the power of local love across PEI. And I think we can feel it in the room here tonight. Local love, lots of it. I know that Islanders are really generous people, but you know, we'd like to know that we're making an impact with our dollars. And what we're doing here tonight is telling those stories about lives changed through the generosity of Islanders and the careful investments made by the United Way. And it's a pleasure to tell those stories in such a beautiful way through the talent of these wonderful songwriters. This is just incredible. So I hope you'll all support the United Way this year and help lift up your fellow Islanders. And we'd like you to show us your local love. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Well, we are coming almost to a close on this special evening. We have our final storyteller, Doug. He is a participant in the Literacy Alliance's Volunteers for Literacy program, where volunteers are matched to provide one-on-one tutoring with other adults. He'll be joined this evening with Margaret, a volunteer matched with Doug, and both Doug and Margaret now consider themselves great friends beyond the relationship established through the program. And the Amanda Jackson Band will be our last performers to share a song inspired by Doug's story. Amanda Jackson Band, fresh off their recent performance at the Fredericton Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival, they have been growing a strong fan base since 2014. They've released one live album and one studio album, which won Music PEI's Urban Album of the Year last year. Many of their songs feature elements of social justice. Tonight they will perform as the Amanda Jackson Trio, featuring Dale McKee, Todd McLean, and of course, Amanda Jackson. Thank you.
Hello? Yeah. Now I can't see us because the light's right in my eyes. First off, I'd like to thank all of the ladies and gentlemen here that are support the United Way, because without the United Way, Margaret and myself wouldn't be able to sit here, because without the funding, I wouldn't be able to tell you my story. So I'm going to try to tell you my story if I can. I'm going to start off at day one. I say to people that I've worked from the day I could walk, and literally it is true, because I remember as a kid walking underneath the handle of the lawnmower, cutting grass, right? I worked at loading potato boats when I was like 12 years old, throwing 50-pound bags of feed, or 50-pound bags of potatoes in a boat. I worked at Kenlock Chicken Farm when I was like 12, feeding a couple 100,000 chickens in the weekends, right? And plus, when it's a little different, I guess every generation's a little different, but when I was growing up, you helped, you worked, you didn't. There was no video games, right? There was, you helped your uncles, you helped them at the farm, you're always working. So anyway, speed things up here a little bit. When I started in school, I had what they call dyslexia. But when I started school, I didn't pass grade 1. I didn't pass grade 2. I didn't pass grade 3, right? So I literally went through till I was 14 years old, just winging it, right? Like, I know that when the teachers would say to me, copy what's on the board, well, when I looked at the board and I seen C, A, T, I didn't think of it as cat. I just seen C, A, T, right? So, and then when you were doing your work, like the words, the big words, little words, you'd find little spots where they'd fit in where you're supposed to fill it, right? And then, as far as math, I probably counted more oranges and apples than anybody around, right? Because if I had to find out how many 5s was in 100, I had to draw 100 oranges, circle 5 each time, and then count them all up. Oh, a lot of work. So, when I was 14 years old, I was in grade 8, but I was at the back of the class doing grade 2.5, grade 3 work, right? Just your basic stuff. So there was a family friend that was from Ontario, and he had a roofing business. So I was on an airplane smoking cigarettes and drinking beer on the way to Ontario when I was 14 years old, right? That's a good start. So anyway, well, when I was in Ontario, I learned how to roof. While I was roofing, when I was growing up, when you were told to listen and watch, I knew how to listen and I knew how to watch, right? So I'd watch all these other people doing their different trades, and I thought, I can do that, right? So I picked up a lot of trades, and I ended up calling myself a carpenter. So when I say I picked up these trades, I know that sometimes people say a jack of all and a master of none, but I was a jack of all, but I done them all well, right? I wasn't as quick as somebody that done it full all the time, but any job that I done, people said that I'd done good work, and it took me a long time to accept that when they were saying to me that it was good, it's not that good, right? I wouldn't accept. So I learned how to accept a compliment, right? Where am I? I know I'm awful dry, right? You'll have to excuse me for a second. They said I wasn't allowed to drink until after this, right? But as everybody knows on PEI, there's, what do they call that? White lightning. Oh, I guess it's kind of like them there apples and oranges again. When I was trying to get ahead in life, I learned, like sometimes people would say, after they knew that I couldn't read and write, they say, well, you don't talk like you can't read and write. And I always wondered what a person talks like they can't read and write. Right? But and another thing that is true, right? Maybe not to everybody, but I've often heard it growing up that a picture's worth 1,000 words. For me, it literally was, because people ask me, well, if you don't know how to read, how can you install a doorknob? Well, I look at the picture, right? Picture says do this, do that. I don't have to read the words. The picture says it. So if you're ever putting a barbecue together, don't look at the directions. Just put it together, right? So when I was getting in business myself and working for myself, being that I couldn't read, I actually in Toronto, they have a a Yellow Pages that's like that thick. So I use the Yellow Pages as a dictionary. If I wanted to write something down, I'd flip the pages until I found what I was looking for. So if I was looking for tile or if I was looking for radiators or car parts or whatever, right, I'd just flip over and I'd use the Yellow Pages as a dictionary. And I used to tape phone calls. Like, this is when I was just getting into business, right? But later on, I guess I should speed this up a little bit, but later on, I did go into business with, over the years, I was involved with several different businesses. But because of my education, I was taken advantage of. I was paperwork, you know, people have paperwork and they say sign here, sign there, sign here, sign there, right? So I just sign, right? But anyway, I signed my rights away to a few things that I probably, if I could have read the papers, I wouldn't have signed. But the particular business that I'm talking about right now is worth millions. But it was my philosophy and my worth ethic, I guess, that made the company. But I wasn't part of it. So anyway, speed it up a little bit more. I know that there's a few people talked about their demons, right? I'm not going to get into a lot of demons, but I had my own demons. I made a lot of mistakes, right? But you learn from your mistakes and you move on. So I done carpentry right up until about 3 years ago, and 3-4 years ago, and then I got what they call spinal stenosis. So it's kind of like a bone in your neck that's like an oyster shell growing. And if I wouldn't have had an operation in there, it would have severed my spinal cord at my neck. So if your spinal cord is severed at your neck, nothing else works, right? So I ended up that between that problem there and just wore out. They say I have a degenerative back disease. It just means I'm wore out. That's from all that work. So anyway, after I was able to get out of the hospital, I said, okay, I can't use my body no more. And then I thought, I can use my brain, right? So I said, I'll try to learn how to read and write. So I heard about a Liturgy Alliance, and I phoned and talked to a very nice person. I forget her name, right? Amanda. Oh, thank you. So they said they had a perfect match for me, which was Margaret. And we've been together now for about 3 years, right? So sometimes she's a little hard on me. And see, I tell people that she's abusive, and she says, I'm not abusive. But anyway, let's speed her up a little bit. So I went to a college to get set up, and I started with basically my ABCs, right? I did know my ABCs, but anyway. So throughout that experience with the Liturgy Alliance, I heard about another program. It was called the West Program, and I went to see a lovely lady by the name of Sue. I forgot your name. Susan DeBlise. So anyway, she tested me, and lo and behold, I was at the right kind of level to get in to start my work towards my GEDs. So I went last year to the West Program, and I still have Margaret with me. And Margaret said she'll be with me until I don't need her no more, so I hope she's got no. Yes, you did. So my goal now is to try for my GED. It's an attainable goal. I would, rather than anybody taking advantage of me or me taking advantage of anybody else, I'd like to be able to do my own, well, get my GED, maybe take a small business course, right? Be able to do my own market studies, business plan, proposals, whatever it is in business. So, what? Oh. I never really said all I'd want to say, but if you have any time, if you got 25 years, I can tell you a lot more. But I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your support. Again, without the United Way, I wouldn't be able to sit here to tell you my story. And I know there's been several stories told tonight, and each one of us have the power to move up. I've seen people always want to hold people down. I think it should be the other way around. We should pick everybody up. Thank you very much.
Check one. That was beautiful. Thank you. So we wrote this song for Doug. Dale, Todd, and I got to hang out with him for, we must have talked for about 2 hours almost, eh? Yeah. He's coming with me. But we learned a lot in those 2 hours, I'll tell you that much, about struggles and triumphs and dark places and beautiful places. So you mentioned a picture's worth 1,000 words, and that's something that means literally that to you. So we wrote this song and we call it Pictures.
Say still real, it's yours to steal. My love is real, it doesn't seem. Man in the mirror is asking questions tonight. But I got nothing to say. If I could save somebody else, I'd save myself. And I swear I'll find a way. I'll find a way. I'll find a way. 'Cause I see pictures in my mind of what I need, who I will be.